So welcome. Thanks for coming, everyone, and thanks to everyone watching on UMBC Retrievers TV. Just a little bit of a point of clarification on our number of coaches that Ed reported on. True, we have had 5 coaches that have coached the lacrosse team at UMBC. The first 2 coaches in 68 through 70 coached when UMBC was not a member of the USILA. So we competed mostly against B squads, junior colleges. So in the spring of 71 is when we first began our affiliation with the USILA. And from 71 until this point, we have had 2 head coaches of our program, and now we'll be welcoming a 3rd. And I guess our magic number is 23 because both Dick Watts and Don Zimmerman coached UMBC men's lacrosse for exactly 23 years. I wanted to dispel a rumor of anyone watching out there that is thinking of applying for a job in UMBC athletics. You do not have to be named Ryan to get a job with our department. As you know, our last 2 hires of major significance, Ryan Odom in men's basketball and our new men's lacrosse coach today. I did a little bit of looking, and when Ryan competed at Maryland, he was 4-0 against UMBC teams. However, when he was on the sidelines for the Terps, the Retrievers did manage to win in both 2009 and 2012. And I think maybe you even mentioned that 2012 game in your interview because that was the 8-7 victory when Maryland was ranked number 4 in the country. And I think that victory by UMBC really said a little bit about the Retriever program to Coach Moran when he was on the sidelines. I want to thank, first of all, the sports information staffs at Maryland and Loyola for their assistance, helping me out with this, especially Ryan Eigenbrod at Loyola, who took time out of his vacation to get me everything I needed to put the press release out on Monday and be able to introduce Ryan today. One more thank you. I do want to recognize Coach Zimmerman, who is kind enough to be here today. And I remember 24 summers ago, the summer of '93, I think we were actually over at the residence halls where we introduced Coach Zimmerman. And, Coach Watts was there at the time to welcome him and pass the baton to Coach Zimmerman. And he's here today to do the same thing. And, UMBC lacrosse has always been about class. And win or lose on Saturday, me personally, I was always proud to go into the Giant food store on Sunday with my UMBC lacrosse shirt on because it's a program that's always been about class and respect, and I know it will continue to be that way. So without further ado, I'd like to bring in our athletic director, Tim Hall, who will make our formal introduction.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us here at UMBC for a really special day and a somewhat historic day in the history of UMBC, and particularly UMBC athletics and lacrosse. Well, we welcome the new leader of our men's lacrosse program to the UMBC family. Before I make a few brief remarks and welcome our new coach into the fold, there's some thank yous that have to go out to a number of individuals who helped us get to this point today. But before I do that, as Steve had alluded to previously, an unbelievable debt of gratitude is owed to Don Zimmerman for the work that he has done on behalf of UMBC, UMBC student athletes, and just the game of lacrosse, not only at UMBC, but also at John Hopkins and really nationally and internationally. So I was raised in a house with a lot of sayings, one of which is life is a series of new beginnings. And Coach Zimmerman is starting a new beginning in his life, but he is still going to be part of the Retriever family, working very closely with me and others as we continue to do our work to build on the successful future of UMBC athletics. So I ask that everybody here give a round of applause to Don Zimmerman. Don has not only left an indelible mark on the sport of lacrosse, but he certainly has left one at UMBC, and it will live for a very long time. As we were going through the process of looking for a new leader for this lacrosse program, there were a number of factors that played into the decision-making process. And as I talked to a number of you not too long ago, as we were going through the same search for men's basketball, I really wanted somebody who was an educator first, somebody who understands, you know, in this perspective, when you stop your last shot or you take your last shot, the question is, how are you going to spend the rest of your life? Have we as administrators and coaches, have we as a university prepared these young men to go and be part of a successful future and to be the leaders of America going forward? So being an educator, seeing himself as an educator was certainly important. Somebody who was intelligent, and I think I said in the remarks or in the press release, somebody who was intelligent and thoughtful, somebody who understood how to build relationships, ask the question why, somebody who had a strong compliance conscience and knew that there was no right way to do something wrong. And as he builds his program here, we're going to do it in the spirit of NCAA and America East rules. Somebody who could build relationships as our university continues to grow and flourish, and the athletic department right there along with it. It is going to be through strong relationships with alums that are going to help us meet that margin of excellence through their time, talent, and treasure. So having somebody who really could build relationships and have that vision for the program, help to articulate that vision broadly to help us raise the necessary resources to keep this program on the cutting edge. I wanted somebody who wanted to be at UMBC. I mean, if you listen to what Steve just said, there hasn't been a whole lot of turnover. And as Steve and I were joking earlier in the week, if Ryan's here for 23 years like the previous two coaches, then we really would have done something right. And so the fact that, you know, Ryan has, although from Long Island, and he'll probably talk about that, has strong roots in this region, has had success in all facets of this region, and it was important to have somebody who understood our region. The fact that he is a consummate family man is important, and we spent a number of hours on multiple occasions talking throughout this process, and I just had a really strong feel that in all facets he was going to be the right person for this opportunity. And interestingly enough, as you're building relationships, one of the things that really stuck with me was when we were talking about strategy, and somehow we got on to talking about family, and we were both sharing little vignettes about how you get a 2-year-old to take a nap. And so whether it's strategy for lacrosse, whether it's strategy on how to be a great husband and a great dad, whether it's strategy on how to help a young man through a particularly challenging situation, whether it's personally or on the field or in the classroom, he has all of those intangibles. And so really proud to be able to introduce Ryan Moran as our new head coach for our men's lacrosse program. Before I do that, there's a couple of thank yous that I need to make in closing. First, to Freeman Rabowski, our president, and Dr. Nancy Young, our vice president, for their unwavering support. And then I wrote it here so I don't leave anybody out. The members of the search committee that really gave of their time in a very short process so we could get this done and be here today. And those are Jessica Hammond from athletics, Greg Simmons, our vice president for institutional advancement, a former player, Drew Westervelt, Tom Mandato from athletics, our women's head lacrosse coach, Amy Slade, Lee Hawthorne, the director of student life, Steve Levy from athletics, and Kimberly Moffitt, who is a faculty member and our faculty athletics rep here at UMBC. So again, a special day in the history of UMBC athletics, and one again that if it plays out 23 years, we will have done something right. So my pleasure right now to introduce to all of you our new head men's lacrosse coach, Ryan Moran.
Well, hope you all can bear with me a little bit. This is a lot of this being an assistant for so long. There's a little bit of transition to the head coaching hat, and a lot of this is new for me. First off, I just want to thank Dr. Rabowski and Tim Hall and everyone that's on the search committee for their tireless effort and and everything that they did in kind of educating myself on UMBC throughout the last 3 weeks. And really would like to take this opportunity to thank Coach Zimmerman as well for the years of service he gave to UMBC, and I look forward to kind of building upon his great legacy that he's left here. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Loyola at this time as well. Give special thanks to Coach Toomey and Jim Paquette, who's the AD there. Those guys were just truly instrumental in the last 2 years and really helping me develop and I think take the final steps on the transition from becoming an assistant coach into a head coach. With that being said, very eager to start leading the UMBC men. I'm taking it one step at a time right now, one day at a time, finding out a new task, something new at UMBC, something that I have to accomplish every day. I emailed the young men today from my Gmail account because I think I'm going to get my UMBC account today, and I said this will be the last time you get an email from my Gmail. But I emailed them today kind of articulating some things to kind of be prepared for moving forward. And I'm just truly excited, truly honored for this opportunity to lead this great program.
Now we'll turn to a press conference. I open it up to members of the media in the front row to fire away with Coach Moran.
Right now, like I said, I'm in the transition period for me. It's just kind of taking everything one step at a time, all right, and figuring out just the little nuances on how to go to work each day and be productive while I'm at work. There's going to be a lot of questions that are open that I have that I'm going to need answered, and so far everyone's been great in getting me those answers. And the more questions I ask, the less questions the more questions I ask, the more answers I get, the more productive I'm going to be. In terms of the playing style, I really think that's going to come down to the personnel. And to be honest with you, in terms of film watching, I think last year I had the opportunity to watch them 2 times just against some opponents of ours. I'm going to make sure that I take the whole month of August to watch every game from last year. That'll give me a good opportunity to kind of see them play live, see some of their strengths, see some of their weaknesses. And then with the staff that I assemble, we're going to address what those weaknesses are and implement a plan to turn those weaknesses into strengths, and then focus on those strengths and try and keep them strong and build upon them as well. In an ideal world, I find I've had the most fun coaching teams where you can be extremely athletic in between the middle lines, in between the 2 restraining lines, and really putting a lot of focus on your rope unit, your long stick middies, your short stick defensive middies, and allowing them to have some freedom to be aggressive, to attack early on the offense. And I think that's where defenses are most vulnerable. And then defensively, I was fortunate enough to work alongside some really great defensive coordinators. And we're going to try and be a real system defense that has a high attention to detail in terms of approaching the ball, great communication in terms of how we slide, how we recover, and how we clear.
What was it about this opportunity and this time to make the adjustment and years ago?
You kind of hit on it there. Just timing. I think every assistant coach, they have in the back of their head, they want to be a head coach, and some assistants it works out perfectly for them. And they have an easy road, and there are other assistants out there that are plugging away and just grinding out every day. For me, it was just a tremendous opportunity to coach at a university that I just have the utmost respect for. I know Tim kind of hit on it as a player. Always compete against UMBC, and the mindset of the week is that you better be ready to play because they're going to punch you in the mouth. And that was kind of our approach at Maryland. That's been my approach of all the places that I've coached at. So I knew from a culture standpoint, I was going to have an opportunity to coach the type of kids that I like to coach. Blue-collar kids, kids that are going to work hard, kids that are going to do things the right way off the field and on the field, kids that are going to invest and hopefully see some accomplishments as a result of that investment.
You played in Maryland, obviously coaching in the first school around the geography of the situation, really, how much did that help?
It was just a perfect storm of great opportunities surrounding it. You have an opportunity where you don't need to move. Your kids can stay in the same schools, and you have an opportunity to fulfill a goal of yours of being a head coach at a university where you feel like you can be greatly successful coaching the type of kids that you want to coach. It was an absolute no-brainer for me, and so I obviously put my name in, and hopefully, and luckily things worked out the way that they did.
Coming from a family lacrosse coach over the years, kind of how you run it, for success at this point, that you carried over throughout your
Growing up on Long Island, my dad was a high school coach, so really early in life I was kind of brought to practices, kind of embedded in the game, just seeing successful teams play at a very young age, and I guess the lessons I learned most from them were just in terms of watching my dad coach every day, and how he drove those kids. But you could sense even when I was little that those kids had a respect and admiration for him, and I've always tried to kind of emulate that in a way, being very hard but also extremely approachable to the point where the kids like you so much that they want to play hard for you. So I think being in that environment early on in my life really helped me, in my younger years of coaching and where I am right now.
With the year 23 years, and you've been here twice with different coaches, what's your initial reaction to just the traditional longevity of the process here?
I think it just speaks volumes of how great of a place this is. You got a place where you've had really successful coaches that probably had opportunities, but they're just very happy where they are, and I think it's a good fit. And that's what I believe I bring to the table too as a good fit. I think if you enjoy who you coach, you enjoy the kids that you're recruiting, you're going to have a great experience, and the kids are going to have a great experience, and you're going to be successful. And if you got all those components into a program, you wouldn't want to leave it. You don't want to leave it. I am working on staff, working very diligently on staff. I'm really looking for, young guys, some guys that I've coached, guys that are hungry, guys that understand the amount of work that needs to be put into the recruiting game right now, guys that know me, so the transition between who I am is going to be very seamless. And I also am looking at guys that have been coaching at the highest levels of lacrosse, and guys that are coaching at schools that are competing with really strong strengths of schedule. So they're prepared for the American East. They're prepared to coach in a really elite conference. They've had experience coaching in big time games. This environment won't be new to them. So for me, it's really important in terms of the guys I'm looking at. Who have they been competing against so far? Like, what obstacles have they had? Have they been able to coach against and try and scheme against some of the elite coaches in our game? And if they have, that's great experience. No matter if you're 25 or if you're 45, if you have that experience and that opportunity to do those things, that's going to put you in a position to be successful.
Coming off, you mentioned Charles and Jamie, David Howell. What lessons, starting back to lessons you learned over the years with David, particularly as you some of the players, just learning under them?
Yeah, they've all been great mentors to me, and I've been able to keep in touch with all of them, starting with Coach Meade at the Naval Academy, who gave me my first opportunity in coaching at the Naval Academy Preparatory School. I still text with him regular, call with him regular. I'd say the best thing that he gave to me was just the ability to manage a staff and be really like seeing at such a young age, you know, my first coaching job, just how he managed his staff as a CEO, and he entrusted his assistants to do things, and he was very clear and deliberate with, these are your tasks, you have to accomplish them. And then transitioning to Coach Cottle and Coach Tillman while I was at the University of Maryland, I think I took a wealth of, you know, schematic knowledge from Coach Cottle, you know, just in terms of, you know, understanding what defenses do and why we do what we do versus that. Coach Tillman, I can't speak highly enough. My years with him when he was an assistant at Navy, and then my years working underneath him when he was the head coach at Maryland, just his thoroughness and his ability to, you know, just in games, the most calm guy ever, and that was something that I needed to work on a little bit, and he really tried to help me and mentor me through that, and really help me transition in my in-game coaching, which was excellent. And then as a recruiter, just seeing how he recruited, the things that he did, the methods that he used, you know, have been methods that I've carried on and still use and will always use. And then most recently, Coach Toomey and the rest of the staff, Coach Dwan, you know, Coach Fletcher, Coach Vakeness, my 2 years there were just really great in terms of just developing methods and habits to really connect with your players. Those guys, the players truly love the coaching staff at Loyola. I believe that, and I think a lot of how we played and how hard they played was a byproduct of just the love and the effort that the coaching staff gave into those players. So I've been able to take a lot of really core components of being a good head coach from the head coaches I've been able to work underneath, and I really think that's going to help me moving forward being a head coach myself.